The reality is psychologists can't help you on his own. They can't help you. Doctor can't help you.
It seems like you've got a lot of knowledge on dating apps.
I've dropped myself in it now, haven't I? Like on YouTube. People tell me these things. The pharmacist! And then the dispenser goes, and I hear a clap as if I did a magic trick. Yeah, it was phenomenal, right? As if like I did an amazing magic trick and this and that. And I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to explain this?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to Firmly Rooted. It's been a while, but finally we're back, and we are with Ustadh Mustafa. Welcome.
Jazakumullah khairan. It's a pleasure to be here. It's been a long time coming, so alhamdulillah, it's good to be here. Alhamdulillah wa shukr.
We planned this quite a while back.
That's right.
Alhamdulillah, now it's happening.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
So, very big question. Who are you? For the very few people in this world that don't already.
Alhamdulillah wa shukr. So, I'm your brother, Mustafa. I'm a pharmacist by trade. So, alhamdulillah, I did a master's at pharmacy at Aston. After that, I did a degree in Sharia from the European Institute of Human Sciences. And then I did a master's in Islamic Studies at Markfield. And now my role within Roots, I'm head of the academic team. So what that basically means is I'm in charge of, we're not in charge of, but my team helps to make the content and recruit the instructors for Roots. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, nice. And is that 1, 2, 3 degrees that I hear?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So 2 masters and individual degree, yes.
And in both secular and Islamic studies.
That's right, alhamdulillah.
So you really have the full bag of studying.
Alhamdulillah. I mean, yeah, university degrees is one thing, and alhamdulillah, we've done a few degrees. So
yes.
Alhamdulillah.
And thank God you're here, because right now is exam season.
That's right.
Which means everyone watching, including me, is just grinding through revision.
Yes.
So any personal top tips from you, who's a professional exam taker? From what I'm hearing.
Well, that's what degrees are, right? Degrees are about how well can you take exams, especially if it's an exam-based kind of degree. And I had one tactic. Yeah, there was one kind of thing that I would do when it comes to exams, and that was past papers. And I used to always try and find as many past papers as possible, especially in my pharmacy degree, as many past papers as possible, and just do as many of them as possible. The reason being is especially the essay questions. I would always do exam past papers in the hope that one of my past papers that I did, one of the questions that came up in my past papers, a similar question will come up in my exam. And when that happened, I'd be the happiest person ever. Because typically in my university, they were quite lazy instructors. And every kind of 5 or 6 years, they'd repeat the questions. So that's my top tip. That's my tactic. And I guess as reflection of that, do your past papers, prepare for your questions in case they come up in the exam. But we've also got another exam that we're preparing for. And that is the exam of our life, right? The exam of our life. One of the happiest moments in the exam hall that I would happen to me is I'd turn the question, I'd see an essay question, and I'd see, I prepared for this. Yeah, I've done this past paper question before. And I'd get so happy. I'd just be smiling in the exam hall thinking, alhamdulillah, I know exactly what I'm writing. I know exactly what to prepare for this question. And, inshallah, I'll do well on it. You're doing medicine.
Yes.
Okay. Imagine if I said to you, Hamza, I can tell you what is the first essay question in your exam paper.
How many marks?
Huh?
How many marks?
Good question. How many marks?
If it's out of 100.
It's, this will make or break your exam.
Okay.
Yeah, this will make or break your exam. If you do well on this question, it will make or break your exam. What would you do if I said I've got that question for you?
I would empty my bank account and still not be happy, and still get my parents to empty their bank accounts and get as much money as I can to figure out.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because actually in my pharmacy degree, we had an instructor, a lecturer. It's very funny. We used to sometimes ask him questions, and he used to tell us the questions in the exam paper. That's for another podcast, yeah, in terms of what we do in pharmacy. So you'd pay for it, right? So if I would say to you, I've got the question, but it's going to cost you. Okay, let's say, fine. Here, Hamza, I'm going to charge you £3,000. Yeah, here's your essay question for your medicine, paper. Okay, I'll give you that information. What are you going to do with that after you pay that £3,000?
So I've got the question now.
You've got the question. The big essay question, yeah?
I'm going to look at that question.
Before the exam, yeah?
I'm going to spend every hour that I have until that exam, just stare at that question, prepare for that question, revise using that question, and not look at anything else. That is what I'm going to do.
Okay,
and
nice.
Inshallah, then the question comes up, and then
questions.
Pass, hopefully.
Okay, well, I've got some good news for you.
Okay.
I've got the first question of your exam paper.
For my medicine.
Not for your medicine exam paper.
Okay.
Not for exam. Not for.
Because I was worried the route is becoming like a study YouTube channel now.
Your lectures aren't watching this, are they? No, not for your medicine exam paper.
Yes.
I've got the first question of a bigger paper. Yeah, of a far more important paper. The first question, the most important question, which is the exam of your life. Yeah, the exam of your life. The first question that we're going to be asked about in terms of our prayer. Our prayer. And people might know this information. Yeah, in terms of the first thing I'm going to be asked about in terms of my hereafter is my prayer. But the question that we kind of have to ponder about and contemplate on, just like you said, I'm sure everybody would do what you do in terms of the university time. You've got this question, you're going to prepare for it. You're going to have memorized essays just so that you get 100% in the exam, or as close to it as possible. Because these are really important marks, especially if it's a make or break question. How about the exam in our lives? We know the first question. We know how much of an important question is. Asking about our prayer, what have we prepared for it? Have we prepared for this exam question the way we would have prepared for our exams? That's the question for us to kind of contemplate and think about and, ponder upon. Yeah. This is the importance of prayer. It's the importance of prayer.
Okay. So the very first question.
The very first question.
Yes. And for those that have taken exams, if the very first question, you have no idea what's going on, the rest of the paper's downhill.
Exactly.
And is that similar in this exam?
Absolutely. And that's a nice metaphor that you've actually mentioned there, is that's what typically happens in the exam, isn't it? We open the exam paper and we look at the first question and we're thinking, oh, sugar. Yeah, oh, sugar. I wish I'd opened my book and I wish I'd looked. Sometimes you even remember what lecture is. This is lecture 7. I didn't look at this properly. I didn't revise this properly. And the fear that kind of goes in terms of, I don't even know the first question. And it's nice that you said that at the very beginning, that's going to dictate how it goes. Yeah, that's going to dictate how the exam goes. And the same thing when it comes to prayer. Yeah, the most important thing. The most important thing. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, Rasul Amr al-Islam. He says the head of the matter is the prayer. Yeah, the most important matter, the most important thing that we're living in our lives is Islam, is our submitting to our Lord. That is the whole reason why we're here. That's the most important matter. Then he says, وَعَمُودُهُ الصَّلَاةِ. He says, and its pillar, its thing that keeps it upright. If this is our Islam, the thing that's going to keep this Islam upright is the prayer. That is the most important pillar. That is the most important thing that any Muslim can do. It's the most important act, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
most important act without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, so we've gone to the core of what this episode's about, which we've done it in a different way, because usually we kind of just say it straight away. This is the topic, but we've kind of hooked the needless students in who are revising right now with exams, and then turned it into the real topic, which is prayer. And what is the importance of prayer now that we've kind of stuck our kind of topic in?
So, Umar radiallahu anhu, it's narrated in Muwatta Imam Malik, he says, the most important matter for me, for yourselves, is the prayer. Whoever preserves it and safeguards it, the prayer, he's safeguarded his religion. Whoever ضيعها, he says, whoever is negligent, leaves it, it goes past him, then everything else he will miss. The prayer is the thing that's going to determine everything else. It's the thing that's going to determine everything else. And subhanAllah, when one reflects in terms of the different things Allah asks us to do as believers, as worshippers, typically, how does revelation come to the Prophet ﷺ? Allah sends down revelation through Jibreel alayhi salam to the Prophet ﷺ. How did prayer, the 5 daily prayers that we understand today, how did that happen? Was it that standard revelation that Allah Jalla wa Ala, the Almighty, sends revelations down with Jibreel alayhi salam to the Prophet ﷺ? That's not how it happened. The importance of the prayer was so important. The one time revelation doesn't come down, the Prophet ﷺ goes up. Because prayer is such a big matter. Prayer is not a standard thing. Prayer is not a standard type of revelation, a standard thing that a believer has to do. This is a matter that's great. It's a matter that's great. The Prophet ﷺ has to ascend up into the heavens to have this order of the prayer. And it's not just the Prophet ﷺ. All the prophets that came before him, this was the institution of Islam, is the prayer. Now.
Okay, so very important.
Absolutely.
And getting on to then kind of the topic of this episode. If it's so important, there's a need to talk about it. But then there's also a problem that we were talking about just before this.
Agreed.
What is this very big, what you call not problem, crisis?
Yeah, absolutely. I call it the prayer crisis. And this is a crisis that is probably a worldwide crisis. And that is that we haven't given the prayer its due right. Look, we've all heard lectures about the importance of prayer. Yeah, I think probably everyone's heard of. I've heard this one before. Yeah, next in the YouTube playlist. Yeah, I've heard this one before. But we actually no, we need to actually hear this again, because we have not given it its prioritization. We have not given it its importance. Right. Let me kind of give you a scenario. Okay, you're in what, second year? Fourth year. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, mashallah, you still got that youth about you, inshallah. You're in your fourth year lecture hall, and Abdullah comes in. He comes and sits down as I'm sitting here. He goes into his bag and he brings out McDonald's cheeseburger. Yeah, Abdullah's got a beard, mashallah. He's wearing a thobe. And it's not a filet of fish burger. It's a cheeseburger. McDonald's. And we're in England, yeah? And he takes a bite. Everyone's reaction is what? Yeah?
Yeah.
What is going on? Everyone is shocked. What kind of blasphemy is this? Yeah, in terms of the McDonald's cheeseburger. And we would be shocked. We would be, just horrified and thinking, are you even Muslim? Honestly, that would probably be the question that's in our mind. Bro, are you even Muslim? What are you doing? You think just because you're eating cheeseburgers if like no one cares? Yeah, that's the question that's going to go through our mind. Then Abdullah comes along and says, I want to be the ISOC head brother. I mean, people are going to be crazy if they're going to get this guy as head brother. They're going to be like, are you serious? The cheeseburger guy, McDonald's cheeseburger guy is going to be the head brother? And we need people that are practicing, people that are right or wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, we have this kind of, Abdullah the cheeseburger eater, and we have this other kind of person, somebody who's not praying 5 times a day. And this problem, this person who's not praying 5 times a day, is a pandemic, that is happening everywhere, unfortunately. The problem is we don't see it as a severe. Because if we found out that Abdullah prays 3 times a day, like khair inshallah, I mean, alhamdulillah, he's inshallah,
Yeah.
Inshallah he's okay, inshallah. But Abdullah, the cheeseburger guy, astaghfirullah tubi ilayk. What's this? But we've seen this sin. I'm not belittling, by the way, I'm not trying to belittle any type of sin. But I'm saying as a prioritization, we've normalized this guy. We've normalized the guy who's not praying 5 times a day. That's normal for us.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy who's doing another sin, it's seen as a shock, horror, are you even Muslim? But it should be reversed.
Is this a new problem? Why is it so easy to see McDonald's as so obviously wrong, but it's harder to see that prayer and missing prayer is wrong?
It's a nice question. Is it a new problem? The Sahaba, one of the famous differences classically in the books of fiqh is the person who leaves the prayer a Muslim? Right? And we don't have to go into that question. But there's this question that's asked, and in the Sahaba's mind, they're thinking, how could a Muslim not pray? Like that concept is how can someone who's a Muslim not pray? Right? So forget about kind of the answer to this question, is a person who leaves the prayer a Muslim or not? But classically, this was the discussion. So just like the cheeseburger guy, bro, are you even Muslim?
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the guy who's eating the cheeseburger. That reaction was a reaction the companions would have, and the early people would have, the guy who doesn't pray, bro, are you even Muslim? Yeah. How is a Muslim somebody who's not praying? And the Prophet ﷺ, he says, the differentiating factor between a believer and a non-believer is the prayer. This concept was foreign to them in terms of how could somebody who's... And by the way, they could do other sins. Yeah? There's other sins going on. It's not as though they were sinless. They weren't sinless.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the tabi'een, it's not as though they were free of sin. But this point, in terms of missing the prayer, that's like, what's going on? What's going on? I don't know, when did this problem start? I don't know, but it definitely is definitely something that, over the centuries we have lost in its importance, in terms of this importance of the prayer is paramount. It's paramount.
Yeah. And so you said over the centuries it's being lost, but do you think it's accelerated with secular education, with university? Is there a link there? Are university students more susceptible to forgetting about the importance?
I mean, perhaps it's probably not just specifically to university students. It's probably a general understanding. And, I'll give you another example, right? Forget the cheeseburger guy. Someone goes up to take someone's hand in marriage. And, the father is looking at his potential son-in-law. And, he's going to make a decision, yes or no. If he finds out that the guy eats McDonald's, no chance. No chance I'm giving him my daughter.
Yeah.
Right or wrong? Okay, but then he finds out the guy prays 2 times a day. He's like, busy a doctor though. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's just a university kind of problem. I'd say somewhere along the line, something happened that we have missed the prioritization of our religion and understanding how do we prioritize.
Yeah.
What things does Allah and His Messenger prioritize? And we have to prioritize those things. And we have to be those people who push what Allah and His Messenger prioritize. And I'm not belittling any other sin, but I'm saying we have to prioritize those things that Allah and His Messenger prioritize. But no, I don't think it's actually just a university thing. I think socially, we have, it's not a big deal. Khair doesn't pray, fine. She doesn't pray, khair inshallah. Allah forgives.
Yeah.
Allah forgives. That's not a good mentality. It's not a good mentality.
Okay, because when we think about people that are not praying, I think the reflex thing that I think is, okay, there's some sort of motivation issue there. There's some sort of laziness issue. It sounds like from what you're saying, it's actually a knowledge issue. It's a lack of understanding.
Perhaps that's it. Perhaps, yeah, because, okay, if we understood, just like the reason I give the McDonald's example is because it's touchy to people. They automatically feel a bit defensive and saying, how could you say that, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe imagine if one step further and said, forget about the cheeseburger, a bacon sandwich.
Yeah.
Suddenly everyone's like, yeah, this is getting intense. It's crazy. And you would actually ask that question, are you actually a Muslim?
Yeah.
You would ask that question if someone was to eat a bacon sandwich. Again, I'll ask the question, which one's more severe? Eating a bacon sandwich or not praying?
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt, no scholar would disagree. Not praying is more severe than that. And again, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying, guys, by the way, Mustafa says go out and eat bacon sandwiches. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we have to understand the prioritization. And if we understood it like that, because we are disgusted if we thought a Muslim's going to eat a bacon sandwich. We'd be disgusted.
Yeah.
Likewise, we should understand that this is so much bigger. This is so much bigger in the eyes of Allah. So yeah, perhaps the first one is a knowledge thing. And then having that, once you understand the priority, if we're still not praying, then we need to reassess our Islam in terms of, are we actually living for the sake of Allah? Yeah, are we, am my purpose here? What is my purpose? Because if the most important thing to Allah is prayer and I'm not praying, then I have to start asking questions about myself.
Yeah.
I have to start asking questions about myself.
Yeah.
And we need to rephrase, what does it mean to be a practicing person and a not practicing person? Because we look at the apparent. But the most important thing is someone that's praying. Someone that's praying.
Yeah. And it goes back to when you talked about what is the first question on that exam.
Exactly.
It's prayer. And you might be revising 10 hours a day, studying medicine, or looking after your family and making money for your family and for a living. But all of that doesn't matter if the very first thing isn't there. And surely that must be a lack of knowledge then. Because if you knew that, then how could you spend 10 hours a day on one thing but not 30 minutes on another?
Agreed. And I'm not trying to single out, but I sometimes see, for example, on Muslim dating apps, for example, like there's different questions about this person, are you practicing, I don't know, do you smoke, whatever. One of the questions is, do you pray 5 times a day?
It seems like you've got a lot of knowledge on dating apps.
I've dropped myself in it now, haven't I? Like on YouTube. People tell me these things, yeah?
A friend of a friend of a friend.
Yeah, a friend of a friend of a friend, yeah. Allah understand. Right, but the point this is the point I'm trying to mention in terms of the social thing. How many times do you pray? And it's kind of like, pray 5 times a day, sometimes, never. As if that's such a casual question. Yeah, as if like, oh, it's just like smoking. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah. Which goes to show that actually, socially, that shouldn't be a kind of an all right question. It shouldn't be. And that's why we need to revive this understanding of the prayer is such an imperative part of a Muslim's day that it's non-negotiable.
Yeah, okay. So we've discussed the importance of prayer. We've discussed one huge reason why people don't pray, which is that lack of knowledge, not understanding that prioritization. Is there any other reasons why maybe some Muslims that do have that intention to pray sometimes fall short?
Do you know what I mean? I think it's not just, I guess, prioritizing the prayer as a unit. Like, we live like these really busy lives, right? Like you said, sometimes it might just be kind of forgetfulness, or I'm busy, and then so on and so forth. And we do kind of live that hustle and bustle life now, don't we? It's kind of like, okay, well, I start the day at 9, I've got half an hour lunch break, finish at 5, then I've got to go here, got to go there, shopping, whatever, gym. So it's kind of like there's always something going on.
Yeah.
All right, there's always something going on. You don't kind of have a time to kind of sit back and kind of just reflect or whatever. So we kind of have this constant life. So one of the one of the points is revolving your life around the prayer. So when you're thinking of times in the prayer, it's an understanding, okay, well, my day is, I have all these things that I'm doing in my day, and when prayer is not at the beginning of that discussion, is not in the priority in terms of your mind, it can easily be forgotten, or can easily kind of be dismissed, because you're just running around. So I always say work smarter, not harder. Work smarter, not harder. What do I mean by this, especially when it comes to the prayer? I've seen in my own time in terms of university this kind of issue where, let's say, for example, you've got half an hour lunch break or an hour lunch break or whatever until the next lecture, and someone will come and they'll pray. It will be dhuhr time, for example. They'll pray sunnah before dhuhr, they'll pray dhuhr, they'll pray sunnah after dhuhr, and then they'll pray nafil prayer. So they've spent a decent amount of time now in terms of in their prayer. Then when it gets to asr time, they don't pray. This is a calamity. This is an absolute disaster. And it's not just, okay, so now we understand prioritizing prayer as a thing, and actually now the step underneath that is actually understanding the prioritization within the prayer. Okay, what does Allah actually want from us within the prayer? In terms of because this guy and the guy who just prayed dhuhr and asr, in fact, this guy actually prayed more. He spent more time. Yeah, he prayed sunnah, dhuhr, sunnah, nafil, he prayed more. This guy just prayed dhuhr and asr. Which one's better? Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, there's no hesitation. This person is miles above this person.
Yeah.
But they worked the same amount of time. They had the same schedule, but he was smarter with his time. And again, maybe it's a thing of knowledge. Maybe it's a lack of knowledge. And I've seen sometimes like the effort. Okay, well, it's dhuhr time. I've only got 15 minutes. How am I going to fit in sunnah, dhuhr, sunnah, nafil? I can't do that. So I'm just not going to pray at all. And again, it comes down to this understanding, what does Allah want to prioritize? What is the prioritization of Allah? So what should this person do? This person is very obvious what this person should do. In this situation, he doesn't pray sunnah. Yeah, he doesn't pray his sunnah prayer. He doesn't pray his nafil prayer. He prays his dhuhr prayer, a good dhuhr prayer.
Yeah,
a good dhuhr prayer. Yeah, and that's again maybe this lack of understanding and a lack of knowledge, which unfortunately leads us to the prayer crisis.
Yeah.
The prayer crisis.
And just to touch on that lack of knowledge, what do you say to those people that say, if you're missing your sunnah prayer, isn't that a sin?
A nice point. So the general answer is no. If someone who misses a sunnah prayer, it's not sinful, especially if one has a good reason not to. And what one needs to understand when they ask this question, before getting into the fiqhi dimensions of it, is that people are different. And people have different things that they're supposed to be doing, and people aren't the same. And we have the famous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that a Bedouin man comes, and he says, "O Messenger of Allah, if I pray the maktubat, if I pray the 5 daily prayers, and then he says, and I fast Ramadan, and I make those things that are halal, those things that are haram, adkhul al-jannah." He says, "Will I enter Jannah?" He says, "Naam." Yes, he will. I.e., this is the pass mark. Yeah, so when you're preparing for your medicine exam, we'll go back to the medicine exam. The first thing that everyone has to think about is, am I going to pass?
Yeah.
Am I going to pass? Once you get to a stage when you feel like I'm comfortably passing, then you start to go, okay, well, I don't want to just pass, I want to get a good grade. And yes, the sunnah prayers do protect you and so on and so forth, that's fine. But if you're not even at the pass mark, what are you doing directed study for?
Yeah.
That's not for you. No, you don't do directed study. You're not even passing. You're not even passing the exam. So you need to actually get to the pass mark. Once you've got to the pass mark, then go and bismillah, go for it. Go and do directed study, go further, excellent. But it's a problem when people aren't even at the pass mark and they're trying to do directed study, and that causes them to not do the pass mark. So work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. So just to summarize that, prioritize prayer in conjunction with everything else in life and realizing it is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
But then also within prayer, prioritizing the fard,
Absolutely.
which is the most important out of all the prayer.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say we've got to the pass mark.
Alhamdulillah.
And we're happy at the pass mark. But
Alhamdulillah.
for a lot of people that are praying 5 times a day, are they truly getting the benefit from that pass mark?
Nice.
What can they do with that prayer?
Nice.
What more can they do to actually get the benefit?
I like it. So the pass mark, you could say, of course, we're using these terms loosely. The pass mark is that you were physically present. Then we've got kind of the second crisis, which was I was physically present, but I wasn't mentally present. Yeah, I wasn't. Okay, I was there, but I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm there praying, but you know, I don't know what happened. Basically, I'm just going through some motions and just going up, going down, going down. Come on, quickly. How quickly can I get through this? So that might be physically there, but they're not mentally there. They're not actually in the prayer properly, as in all of them. They might physically be there, but they're actually not mentally in the prayer. And that's the second crisis, you could say, is the quality of our prayer. What kind of a prayer are we praying? Because we spoke earlier that this 5 daily prayers is the gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to this ummah when the Prophet ﷺ goes up to Salah and Mi'raj. What kind of a quality is happening there? Is it just, Bismillah, let me just, how quickly can I do this? Okay, bang. Yeah, let me just quickly go through the motions. Is that what the prayer's for? Is that why Allah instituted this gift of the prayer? Abadan, that's not the case at all. If the point of the prayer is for the remembrance of Allah, it's for us to be conscious of Allah, it's for us to be mindful of Allah. And this brings us to the point that you mentioned in terms of all of us now, all of us need to strive, not just in terms of being there physically, but actually to be there mentally, to actually be present in the prayer, Yeah.
Okay. And you use the word strive
Nice.
as though you're trying to better yourself over time,
Yes.
slowly. Is being mentally present, to have that concentration, to have that feeling that Allah is present, is that something you simply do, or is it actually a skill that you need to develop over time?
It's absolutely a skill you need to develop over time. And it's something that will waver. Sometimes you might have a good prayer, sometimes you might have a bad prayer. But what we can't do is just always be here. Yeah, we can't always just be at the bottom. We have to keep kind of pushing ourselves to be kind of more mindful in the prayer. And yes, some days we have bad days, but it's something you have to work towards. Allah prevents alcohol. As everyone knows, Allah, prevents alcohol in the Quran. The prevention of alcohol happens in stages. Okay? And one of the first stages of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preventing alcohol, He says, جَلَّ وَعَلَى يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَقْرَبُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْتُمْ سُكَارَى حَتَّى تَعْلَمُوا مَا تَقُولُونَ. Allah says, "O you who believe, don't come to the prayer while you're drunk." Why? So that you know what you're saying. So that you're there. So that you realize, what am I actually saying? Allah prevents alcohol. Why? Oh Allah, why are you preventing alcohol? So that we know what we're saying in our prayer. One of the objectives of the prayer is so that we know what we're saying.
Yeah.
So now we'll be there physically. Is anyone actually conscious of what they're saying? Or is it just, bang, Allah Akbar, up, down, Assalamu alaikum, off we go. Let's go, babe. Let's go carry on the game. Okay. It's clear that one of the objectives of the prayer is you know what you're saying. You know what you're saying. You're present in the prayer. You're present in the prayer. And of course, there's many ayats that talk about this concept of khushu', this concept of being mindful in your prayer, of being mindful in your prayer.
Yeah. And we use the word khushu' a lot. Can you kind of go into what that means?
Nice. Yeah, khushu', subhanAllah, it's narrated by Ibn Abbas, that he's, when asked what is khushu', he says that you don't know who's on your right and who's on your left in prayer. Yeah. So when you're praying, I don't know who's on my right, who's on my left. Meaning what? Meaning you're in the zone, bro. You're in the zone. It's me and my Lord here. Yeah. I don't care who's on my right. Yeah, I don't care if some celebrities on my left. I don't care. Oh yeah, there's my friends over. You're in the zone. You're in the zone. Just like when you take your exams, you don't care who's on your right, who's on your left. You've got khushu' in your paper. Yeah. You're not thinking I like that guy. Yeah, you don't care. You're there for a purpose, a very clear purpose, which is I'm here for my Lord. and I'm fully concentrated in terms of my khushu'. The question, of course, that we should be asking, and we should be asking is, okay, well, how do I achieve that?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's nice to talk about it. It's a concept, but how do I actually get there?
Yeah.
How do I actually get how do I get to this place where I'm mindful in my prayer? I've just asked your question, to me, because it's an important question, right? We talk about it as a concept, but okay, how do we actually get there?
Yeah.
How do we actually get there?
I like the parallel you made between an exam paper, which we've been doing this entire time.
Sure.
But, I like it here because you could ask any student, will you concentrate in your exam? Any student, no matter how bad of a student they are, they will concentrate. Maybe when they're revising, not so much.
Sure,
but when they're in that exam, yes.
Absolutely.
And
when you're writing the essay, yeah?
Exactly. And if you look at the ingredients behind what it took
Nice.
to have that kind of concentration,
Nice.
You know exactly what's going on in that paper.
Nice.
Hopefully.
I like that. Okay, let's work with this. Yeah, go on, carry on.
You know exactly what's going on in this paper. You know what it means. You've been preparing it for a long time. You don't get that concentration of
Nice.
It takes weeks.
Nice. You know the consequences.
You know
of if you do well or you don't do well.
You know that you have the knowledge.
Okay.
And prioritize.
I like it.
And you know why it's important.
I like it.
Those are all the ingredients of why it's so easy to forget about everything else in the world and just focus on the exam.
Amazing.
Sounds like all the ingredients we've just discussed with the prayer.
Let's take the first one, right? So you said knowing what's happening. Yeah. So I would say that's the first ingredient to have khushu' in your prayer. Know what's happening in the prayer. What do I mean by that? If you don't know the meaning of Surah Al-Fatiha, you don't know, okay, what does it mean when Allah says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Malik Yawmiddin. If you have no idea what this means, if you're in your exam paper and you have no idea what this essay means, how are you supposed to concentrate? I just write some random stuff down. Yeah.
You will probably start looking around.
Yeah. Start looking around. Yeah. Who's on my right? Who's on my left? Right. You're looking at who's on my right, who's on your left, because you don't know what's going on. So I would say the first step is what you said, having knowledge of it, understanding what am I saying in my prayer. That's step number one. So do I understand the meaning of Surah Al-Fatiha? Do I understand Allahu Akbar? Do I understand the different adhkar in the prayer? The surahs that I'm reading, do I understand their meanings? Because when we understand their meanings, when we understand what we're actually saying, as Allah says, حَتَّى تَعْلَمُوا مَا تَقُولُونَ, so that you know what you're saying. When you know what you're saying, when you understand what you're saying, then suddenly there's an element of the prayer that's alive. Now there's actually something to concentrate on. You're concentrating upon the meanings now.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I've started my prayer, and now I'm talking about the most gracious, the most merciful. Now I'm talking about the king of the day of recompense. Day of recompense? What's the day of recompense? I.e., I'm going to, get rewarded for things that I'm doing. I'm going to be questioned about things that I'm doing. Suddenly your prayer is different. Suddenly your prayer is a reminder of where you're going. Suddenly your prayer is a reminder of your existence, that, by the way, there's a day of recompense. You're reminding yourself 17 times a day.
Yeah.
You're reminding yourself of your Lord. And who is your Lord? He's all gracious, all merciful. And so on and so forth. That now your prayer is a different dimension. You understand what you're saying. So that's number one. Yeah. I can't remember some of the other things that you mentioned in your exam paper.
Yeah. So number two.
Go on. I don't think I'm going to be able to maintain this metaphor, but let's see. Go on.
You've been preparing for this for a long time.
Nice.
It takes time.
Nice. Okay, that's good. Preparation. I think that's good. When you're coming to the prayer and you're preparing for the prayer, you're coming and actually understanding, what am I doing right now? I'm standing in front of my Lord. And this is not a normal standing in front of my Lord. This is the most important part of my day. Yeah. So you're having that moment to prepare yourself to actually realize, okay, what's actually happening right now? And as mentioned about, some of the companions, that they would go white-faced before the prayer, because you realize you're going to the most intimate time with your Creator. The closest that you are to your Lord is when you're on the floor and your head's on the ground. So that preparation absolutely is there for the prayer. One of the ways to attain this khushu' is that when you're coming to the prayer, you're understanding, what am I actually doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, preparing yourself mentally for, what is it that I'm actually about to do?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the other one?
And then finally, what is the purpose of getting through this? What's the benefits? What's the consequences of doing it?
Nice. Yeah, so we spoke about this at the beginning. I don't want to reiterate the importance of the prayer. But there's some other things as well that I want to mention in terms of how to achieve khushu'. One is removing distractions. Okay? What do I mean by removing distractions? The Prophet ﷺ, he says, let not one of you come to the prayer while he is pushing away the need to go to the toilet, or when food has been presented. Meaning what? It's prayer time, and mashallah, someone brings some nice shawarma. Okay, guys, let's pray. That looks like a nice shawarma. Okay, Allahu Akbar. And then the prayer, you're just thinking, yeah. bro, that looks nice. Yeah. And you're just thinking, and the thing is, you're thinking about it in your prayer. Or for example, you're going to the toilet. I think everyone's done this once. It's like you 20% need a toilet. You start the toilet, and then in the Salah, you're just like, come on, Imam, hurry up. Yeah, I need to go to the toilet. So it's from the fiqh of a person, from the knowledge of the person, that he dispenses of his affairs before he comes to prayer. Why? So he is focused.
Yeah.
He's not distracted. He's not thinking about food, toilet, this, that. So, for example, if you've got an important meeting to have, important conversation, have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as long as the fear of time isn't going to go, have it. Why? So when you come to the prayer, I've got nothing else to think about. I'm in the zone.
Yeah,
I'm in the zone. I'm writing that essay.
What if there's external factors that are going to be in your brain no matter what? Let's say you've got an important meeting, you've got an important exam 30 minutes after this prayer that you're thinking about. How do you try and remove those distractions?
Of course, that's why I'm saying it's a struggle. That's why I'm saying it's a striving. Are you always going to have 100% khushu' in your prayer? Unless if you've been practicing this for a long time, it's unrealistic. Yeah. But the point is you have to keep striving. You have to keep striving, and sometimes you're not going to have the best, and that's why sometimes you just need to, in the middle of the prayer, kind of retune yourself into understanding, what am I doing here? And it's a constant thing that you have to carry on doing. When you do that, then see your prayer. Yeah. Then see what's going to happen with your prayer.
It's like you're slowly building up the threshold, your limit to how, of course, external forces can break that shield.
And just trying to be more conscious, more mindful when you're coming to your prayer.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else that can boost the prayer? Any other points that you had?
Jamil, it's understanding, the actions and what the different actions mean. I mean, this might be a good time to talk about our roots course, the worship course. Yeah. So, our final course that's going to probably be delivered this year is our worship course. And in our worship course, we talk about the inner meanings of the prayer. Yeah. And, one of the main things that we're actually focusing on is this concept of khushu', is this concept of being mindful, and the different actions in the prayer in terms of, okay, what are the different things, and going deeper into the meanings. Because unfortunately, when we come to the prayer, we kind of come in with a very cold mindset that is like, okay, well, this is wajib, this is sunnah, and we're just thinking in like a mathematical sense, wajib, sunnah, this is permissible, this is dislike, this is haram, and it's just become like this cold kind of actions. But the essence of prayer, while you're there, kind of the mindset, mentality, often we forget this. And this is the focus in our whole course. So I guess if you want me to answer that question, I'd say come to the Roots classroom. Yeah, that's a nice advert there. Come to the Roots classroom and find out, okay, so what are the different things to make your prayer more alive? Yeah, and that's the whole reason why we made the Roots worship course. Yeah.
And where can students go for the Roots worship course?
So of course, coming soon to university near you, inshallah. Yes. And of course, for those who don't have university near them, they can check it online to see where the nearest university is. Mm-hmm. And it's a strive that we all need to strive to, me included, to try and have more of a good relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah. And if I'm not incorrect in saying, worship course is going to be in every campus from next semester?
Yeah, inshallah. So this year will either be in your first or second semester. Yeah. In terms of the worship course. So yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that I think it's important to touch upon is maybe the reasons why people struggle to pray. Or because on the other side, okay, so why might people struggle to pray? Right. I mean, you're more than free to give me some kind of suggestions as to, one of the things. I think one of the big things is this idea of embarrassment. And what if somebody walked in on me when I'm praying, right? A funny story actually that happened to me. So I'm a pharmacist and I locum, right? So when I locum in pharmacy, I always go to different pharmacies to it's different every single time. And I always kind of have different strategies in terms of what should I do when it comes to prayer time at lunch. So you kind of got two options, right? You've either got the option of, by the way, it's always a new team, so they don't know who I am because I'm a locum. So I always kind of have this thing in my head. What do I say? Do I say I'm going to go pray, or do I say I'm just going to go out for 5 minutes, or what do I do? So anyway, there's one pharmacy. I said to the staff, I don't know, it is what it is. I just said, guys, I'm just going to be in the consultation room. It's lunchtime. I'm going to be in the consultation room. So I'm just letting them know where I'm going to be. It's my lunchtime. It's my right. And I thought, well, there's no need for me to tell them that I'm going to pray. So they said, okay. So anyway, I go in the consultation room. I put my jacket on the chair and I start praying. And I'm in my prayer and I hear the door open and I hear somebody say, "Can I talk to the pharmacist?" And of course, it's that moment that you're praying and you realize, oh no, yeah, I know what's coming. Yeah, I know that. I know that I'm going to go for this moment of embarrassment. I'm going to go for this moment of, what's going to happen. And funnily enough, the lady comes in and she goes, "Oh, he's in the consultation room. I'll just quickly go get him." So I'm praying, and I'm going to stand up to show what actually happened. Yeah. So I'm praying.
Rayhan's quick on the camera.
Yeah. She opens the door. So I'm praying. I kid you not. The door comes up to here. So I'm like this. The door comes up to here. She opens the door. And she doesn't see me because the chair's there, my jacket's there. The door's like this. And of course, khushu' now, forget it. Yeah, khushu''s out the window. But I'm just there like this. The door's like that. And I'm just thinking, like, this couldn't get any worse, really. So anyway, the lady's a bit confused. She saw me go in. She closes the door. And then she goes to the patients and she says, "I don't know where he's gone. I'm sure I saw him go into the room." So then I hear, of course, I'm still in prayer. Yeah? I'm hearing this commotion now. The staff are talking to each other. "Where did the pharmacist go? He's in the consultation room." The other one's saying, "No, I went in. He wasn't there. And his jacket was just there." And of course I'm praying. And mashallah, khushu' was great. That's what I'm saying. It's just strive, yeah? And then I finish the prayer. I open the door of the consultation room. And the elderly couple see me. And they say, "There's the pharmacist." And then the dispenser goes, "Oh!" And I hear a clap as if I did a magic trick. Yeah, it was phenomenal, right? As if I did an amazing magic trick and this and that. And I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to explain this? Yeah, and of course it's this moment of embarrassment. How am I going to explain this and so on and so forth? And get a bit embarrassed. You say, "By the way, sorry, I was praying," so on and so forth. What's the shahid? What's the point I'm trying to make here? Having a bit of embarrassment, going a bit red, having a bit of an awkward moment. How can that be a reason for us not to do the most important thing in our lives, right? When we learn in the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, we sometimes think to ourselves, "I wish I was there where the Prophet ﷺ was there. I wish I was there with the companions, and I could have, the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, I could have been rolling with Umar and Uthman and helped out and so on and so forth." Like we sometimes like to idolize that. The Prophet ﷺ, when he's praying, it wasn't an awkward, someone walks in and you think he did a magic trick. I'm all embarrassed and shy. He, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, narrations that they would strangle him when he's in sujood. Yeah. Narrations that they would bring the remains of an animal, put it on his back when he's in sujood. Yeah. And we're like, "Oh, but it's a bit embarrassing. It's a bit I just feel a bit uncomfortable. Somebody walking in and seeing me." But you want to claim to be at the time of the companions and being there and you've been helping the Prophet ﷺ, but you can't even get embarrassed for the sake of Allah? You're going to get embarrassed for the sake of Allah? Oh, it's too much for you to be a bit shy, so I'm not going to pray? What about your shyness from Allah? What about your shyness from Allah? Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he asked, in the same incident of Isra and Mi'raj, and it was initially 50 prayers, and he said, I want it less. I want it less. And Musa was saying to the Prophet ﷺ, ask for less. It got to 5 daily prayers. Musa says to the Prophet ﷺ, ask for less. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? Istahaytu min Rabbi. I'm shy in front of my Lord. Yeah. So this idea of I'm embarrassed in front of the people, but be embarrassed in front of your Lord. Be embarrassed in front of your Lord. That you're there. He's asked 5 daily prayers from you. And those 5 are the equivalent of 50. And that's the obligation, that's the most important obligation. But because someone's going to walk in and it's going to be a bit embarrassing, then that's it. That's how strong your Islam was, that a bit of embarrassment stopped you from doing the most important pillar. Again, we need to reassess. And just understand, what are you doing here? What is the most important thing? Something as small as that shouldn't waver your most important pillar. You should be a Muslim, someone who's strong and principled. And not something as simple as a bit of shyness, a bit of embarrassment that somebody walked in on you stops you praying. Yeah.
I don't even think, from my own experience in university, I don't think it's a constant striving against this embarrassment. It is a momentary,
of course,
embarrassment. It happens once. You educate them on what it is.
Exactly.
And from there, I think people honestly respect it more. Absolutely. When they realize that here's a person, they've got a backbone, and they know what they're doing, they know what they want, and this is what this prayer is. And
absolutely. And by the way, I would say, learn from my mistake. Yeah. Don't say I'm going to the consultation room, or don't say I'm going into the corner. Sorry, I need to go to the toilet. Is another one that people use. I'm going to go pray. Yeah, I'm going to go pray. That way you don't have to keep making up some random excuse every single time. And trust me, this is an opportunity for you to start giving da'wah. Start talking, what is this prayer? And we need to have this izzah. We need to have this confidence in terms of our religion. We need to have this confidence in terms of who we are as people. Because this is the most important. This is who we are. This is who we are. And like you said, having a backbone, people respect you. And you know what? Forget about people. You need to respect yourself. Respect yourself. Yeah. That this is who you are. And it's a great opportunity for da'wah. Yeah. So I'd say that you're praying and let people learn. Yeah. Let people learn.
There's a very nice segue into our last kind of bit of a conversation, which is you talk about having some confidence, having that pride in Islam.
Yeah.
That sounds like personality traits. And how does the prayer kind of transfer into you as a person?
Nice.
How you carry yourself and do things and your perspectives on life.
Jamil. So, who are the people that pray? Yeah. Or what does the prayer do? So we're talking about the idea of prayer and having a good quality prayer. What comes after that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ. The prayer, it prevents indecency, it prevents evil. Because a person who prays is not your typical person. The person who prays is somebody who is conscious of their Lord. It's somebody who revolves their life around the prayer. It's somebody who, this prayer prevents them from doing sins, from these sins that are disobedient, acts of disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not a normal person. It's not a normal person. The person who prays is not a normal person. Because Allah says in Surah Al-Ma'arij, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ خُلِقَ هَلُوعًا. The human being was created halu'a. What does halu'a mean? Scholars of tafsir, they say, as discussion, they say it's understood by the next two verses. إِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ جَزُوعًا. When difficulty comes to him, to this person, it is distressing. It's distressing. When difficulty comes to a person, so halu'a can be understood as a type of greed. What does that mean? When difficulty comes to this person in his life, it's distressing. Like, I don't know what to do, I can't cope, and so on and so forth. وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الْخَيْرُ مَنُوعًا. And when good comes to him, he is greedy, or he prevents giving his wealth, he prevents sharing the good that's come to him. Then Allah says, so he's described the person, the human being. This is what a human being is like. Difficulty comes, he's distressed, things are so difficult, I'm suffocating, I can't breathe. And when goodness comes, forget about everybody else, I'm going to be greedy. This is what people are like. Allah says, إِلَى الْمُصَلِّينَ. Except the people that pray. The people that pray, this kind of scenario, that's not for them. That's not for them. Because the people that pray, they've got a different mentality, they've got a different way that they're living their life. When difficulty comes to them, it doesn't just break down their life and everything is over, because they've got a bigger purpose. When good comes to them, they're not so greedy and just thinking about this life, because they realize that there's a bigger purpose. This prayer reminds them of Allah. Then Allah says, He describes the believer. He says, الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ دَائِمُونَ. He says those people that are consistent with their prayer. Not just I pray once, I pray somewhere else. Like, he's consistent. This is a part of his life. He is from the people that pray. And then, subhanAllah, what's incredible about this segment in Surah Al-Ma'arij, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts describing the qualities of a believer. Yeah, He describes different things. He starts off by saying that, this person who is halur, this person who is this greedy person, is not the people that pray. Those people that are consistent with their prayers. Then He mentions different attributes. And at the very end of this segment, He says, again, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. And those people that self-guard their prayers. Allah's already said that the people that pray. Allah has already said that they're people who are consistent in their prayers. At the end of the segment, He says, and those people who preserve their prayers. It's the most important thing in their life. It's the thing that they preserve. Their life is built upon their prayers. This prayer transforms them. They're not like everybody else. Their priority is somewhere else. Their priority is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of consistency, because they're having that moment with their Creator. They're standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and praying to Him, and they're putting their head on the floor, being conscious. I'm so close to my Lord. I can ask on my Lord. This is the time when I can ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what we want to strive to be. People who are consistent, people who are preserving, people who are prioritizing, people of prayer. And that's going to transform our lives.
Yeah. Okay. And what would you say to people who have many problems in their life? They feel like they're burdened with so many problems, but they don't pray.
As Omar said, the most important thing is the prayer. And once you preserve your prayer, everything else will be preserved. Everything else will be preserved. And the most, if you're having problems in your life, and we sometimes turn and think, who can help? Right? Who can help? Whatever it might be. Okay, I've got depression. I need to speak to a psychologist. I'm ill. I need to go speak to the doctor. I need to help with revision. I go and speak to a tutor. Whatever it is, and that's fine. Taking the means, but who is the person who's in charge of these means? Because the reality is, psychologist can't help you on his own. They can't help you. Doctor can't help you on his own. Yeah, I'm a pharmacist. I'm not saying don't go speak to doctors. I'm not saying go speak to psychologists. The tutor can't help you. The person that's going to help you is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if Allah makes your life easy for you, anything is possible. And the thing that Allah loves most is the people that pray. It's the people that pray. And you're going to have a different mentality in your life. And once Allah is with you, anything is possible. Yeah. Anything is possible. Yeah. Okay. Now.
And just to do a full circle from the very start.
Yeah.
For those students that are stressed about exams, finding it to be difficult, you're saying the prayer is the means to give ease for those exams and everything else in life.
Absolutely. And maybe this is a good place to conclude. It's not by Ali radiallahu anhu that he says, and from the last words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, last piece of advice that he says as-salah, as-salah. He says the prayer. This is the last advice of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some of his last advice, as narrated by Ali radiallahu anhu. This is maybe my last advice. The prayer. Look how it transforms your life. Look how your life changes once you're somebody who is consistent. Once you're somebody that preserves. Once you're somebody that tries to live the prayer. Not just physically, mentally. Trying to be there in the prayer. Watch what happens in terms of your life. All aspects of your life. That's the most important thing that we can do, is worship our Creator. And this most amazing way of worship. I think it's maybe a nice place to conclude.
Yeah.
So Jazakallahu khairan.
Jazakallahu khairan.
For having me, Hamza, and may Allah subhanahu to make us amongst people of prayer.
Ameen. Jazakallahu khairan, Ustadh Mustafa. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.